Have you ever wondered how some people manage to stay calm and clear-headed, even in the face of the greatest adversities? The answer lies in mental flexibility. In today's video, we will explore how this crucial skill can help you develop an unbreakable mind, capable of facing any challenge with serenity and resilience. Number 1. Mental flexibility. To develop an unbreakable mind, it is essential to cultivate mental flexibility. At the core of Stoic philosophy, we find the wisdom that true strength is not in rigidity, but in the ability to adapt and flow with life's circumstances. Mental flexibility is the key to facing challenges and adversities with unshakable serenity. Imagine a bamboo stalk in the midst of a storm. While rigid trees can be broken by the wind, the bamboo bends and adapts, remaining firm and resilient. Similarly, a flexible mind is not shaken by difficulties. It adjusts, finds new paths, and emerges stronger from every challenge. Mental flexibility begins with the acceptance of impermanence. Everything in life is in constant change, and resisting this truth is a sure path to frustration and suffering. Marcus Aurelius, one of the great Stoic philosophers, wrote, "Everything we see is a change." By internalizing this truth, we learn to embrace changes with an open and receptive mind. The ability to change our perspective is a crucial skill for mental flexibility. Often, rigid thinking prevents us from seeing solutions and opportunities right in front of us. By training our mind to view situations from multiple angles, we develop a resilience that allows us to face any adversity with a proactive and creative attitude. The practice of mental flexibility also involves detaching from our expectations. When we rigidly cling to how things should be, we become vulnerable to disappointment and despair. Instead, we must learn to flow with events, adapting to constantly changing realities. This detachment is not indifference, but a deep wisdom that allows us to live in harmony with the natural course of life. Epictetus, another great Stoic, reminds us, "It is not things that disturb us, but our opinions about them." This reflection teaches us that our mental response to circumstances determines our inner peace. By cultivating mental flexibility, we learn to adjust our perceptions and attitudes, maintaining serenity even in the most challenging situations. Mental flexibility also helps us develop emotional resilience. Life is full of ups and downs, and the ability to navigate these fluctuations with grace and balance is a hallmark of an unbreakable mind. When facing adversity, instead of being crushed by pain or discouragement, we can adjust, find new meanings, and move forward with renewed determination. Another vital aspect of mental flexibility is the ability to learn and grow continuously. Rigid thinking traps us in old, ineffective patterns. By keeping an open mind and a willingness to learn, we constantly evolve. Every challenge becomes an opportunity for growth, every mistake a valuable lesson. This growth mindset is the foundation of an unbreakable mind, always ready to adapt and overcome. The practice of mental flexibility requires constant reflection. We must ask ourselves, how can I see this situation from a new perspective? What lessons can I learn here? How can I adapt to better face this challenge? This continuous self-reflection keeps us flexible and resilient, capable of handling whatever life throws at us. Mental flexibility also allows us to maintain healthy and balanced relationships. By being flexible in our thoughts and behaviors, we become more understanding and empathetic. We can see things from others' points of view, resolving conflicts with wisdom and compassion. This ability to adjust and find common ground strengthens our bonds and provides us with a solid support network. To develop an unbreakable mind, we must also practice acceptance of the unknown. The fear of the unknown is a powerful source of anxiety and stress. By embracing uncertainty and seeing the unknown as an opportunity to explore and grow, we free ourselves from the limitations of fear. Mental flexibility allows us to navigate the uncertain territory of life with confidence and courage. Ultimately, mental flexibility leads us to true freedom. A mind that can adjust, learn, and grow in any circumstance is a mind that cannot be imprisoned by adversities or external limitations. This inner freedom is the essence of an unbreakable mind, a mind that finds peace and strength in any situation. Number 2. Accept impermanence. Accepting impermanence is the first step to developing an unbreakable mind. At the core of Stoicism lies the understanding that everything is transient. Nothing we know remains unchanged. This principle should not be met with sadness, but rather with deep and comforting wisdom. Imagine yourself standing before a vast, dark storm. Each lightning bolt that cuts through the sky represents the changes and challenges we face in life. The storm may be frightening, but it passes. So too are the adversities of our existence. When we accept that they are temporary, we gain a strength that makes us invulnerable. The acceptance of impermanence begins with observing our own thoughts and emotions. Like the flow of a river, they come and go. Anger, sadness, joy, all are fleeting. Instead of clinging to them, we should observe them with a serene and unshakable mind, like an observer on the riverbank. This emotional detachment is not indifference, but the wisdom of not being dominated by what is ephemeral. Impermanence also teaches us about the nature of material possessions and relationships. What we possess today may be lost tomorrow. The people we love may leave. The reality of death, often feared, is merely a part of the eternal cycle of life. By recognizing this truth, we free ourselves from the fear of loss. An unbreakable mind understands that value lies not in duration, but in the intensity and authenticity of experiences. Imagine a sculptor shaping a masterpiece. Each chisel strike, each detail is temporary until the final form is achieved. We are the sculptors of our own lives. Each decision, each change, shapes who we are. Impermanence is the tool that allows us to continuously refine and evolve. To cultivate an unbreakable mind, it is crucial to practice gratitude for impermanence. Appreciate the present moment, knowing it is unique and irreplaceable. This practice anchors us in the now, preventing us from being swept away by future worries or past regrets. In the pursuit of an unbreakable mind, we must also embrace uncertainty. Life offers no guarantees. Each day is a new blank page, and this should be seen as an opportunity to write our own story. Instead of fearing the unknown, we should face it with courage and determination. Impermanence offers us freedom. When we realize that nothing is eternal, we understand that we are free to change, grow, and reinvent ourselves. The chains that bind us are often forged by our own resistance to change. By accepting impermanence, we break these chains and become truly free. Consider the example of a sturdy tree bending in the wind. It does not resist. It does not fight against the force pushing it. Instead, it adapts and thus remains standing. We too must be like this tree, flexible in the face of life's storms. This flexibility grants us unbreakable strength, a resilience that allows us to overcome any adversity. The daily practice of accepting impermanence should be accompanied by deep introspection. Reflect on what truly matters, on what is essential. Let go of the superfluous, the trivial worries, and the ephemeral desires. Find peace in simplicity and clarity of purpose. An unbreakable mind is forged in the fire of acceptance, shaped by understanding and tempered by wisdom. Each moment of pain, each loss, each change is a lesson. By learning from these lessons, we strengthen our mind and spirit. Life is an incessant cycle of construction and destruction, of beginnings and ends. Accepting this truth puts us in harmony with the universe. We become part of something greater, something eternal. An unbreakable mind is not one that resists change, but one that embraces transformation with serenity and wisdom. Number 3. Detachment from external opinions. The path to an unbreakable mind begins with detachment from external opinions. At the heart of Stoicism, we find the idea that our inner peace should not be dictated by others' perceptions and judgments. True strength lies in being unperturbed by others' approval or criticism. Imagine yourself in a theater where the audience applauds and then leaves. The stage is now empty and silent. This silence is the true essence of our existence, where external voices hold no power. An unbreakable mind is developed in this silence, in this space of tranquility where the true self flourishes. The first step to detachment is understanding that others' opinions are merely reflections of their own experiences and perspectives. They are not absolute truths, but subjective interpretations of reality. By understanding this, we free our minds from the unnecessary burden of trying to please or avoid displeasing others. Detachment from external opinions grants us freedom. Freedom to act according to our values and principles, not according to others' expectations. When we stop worrying about what others think, we gain a clarity that allows us to make authentic decisions that resonate with our true essence. This authenticity is the foundation of an unbreakable mind. By practicing detachment, we realize that our happiness does not depend on external validation. The incessant search for approval is a trap that imprisons us. The unbreakable mind finds satisfaction in the journey itself, in personal growth, and the development of virtues. Consider the rock that remains firm against the waves of the sea. The waves may crash, foam, and retreat, but the rock remains unchanged. So should our mind be in the face of external opinions. Criticism may come, praise may arise, but our essence, our principles, remain solid and unshakable. To cultivate this resilience, a deep look within oneself is necessary. Question: who am I when no one is watching? What are my values, regardless of what others think? This introspection strengthens us and distances us from the need for approval. An unbreakable mind is one that recognizes the ephemerality of opinions. Today we are praised, tomorrow we may be criticized. This volatile nature of external opinions should remind us not to place our inner peace in something so unstable. Find stability in what is immutable, your own morality and inner wisdom. Detachment from external opinions does not mean disregarding others or living in emotional isolation. It means, rather, cultivating an emotional self-sufficiency that does not waver with the wind of opinions. It is an invitation to a life of depth and meaning, where each action is aligned with our true nature. Reflect on the wise of the past who lived and taught this philosophy. They understood that true freedom is not physical, but mental. They achieved tranquility by freeing themselves from the invisible chains of external opinions. The unbreakable mind is a beacon that illuminates the path through the storm of criticism and praise. The practice of detachment should be daily and conscious. Meditate on the fact that each opinion is a projection of the other, not a definition of who you are. Train your mind to remain serene and focused on what truly matters. This practice will transform your perception and strengthen your resilience. By embracing detachment from external opinions, you will discover a new dimension of existence, a life where inner peace is not shaken by external tides. An unbreakable mind is not an isolated mind, but a free mind, a mind that knows its own worth and walks firmly towards what is just and true. Allow yourself to be like the rock, firm and unchanging, against the waves of others' opinions. Develop the ability to listen without being affected, to consider without being dominated. In this balance, you will find true freedom and the strength of an unbreakable mind. Number 4. Reflections of Marcus Aurelius. The Reflections of Marcus Aurelius, the great emperor and Stoic philosopher, are an inexhaustible source of wisdom for forging an unbreakable mind. His meditations, written in moments of solitude and immense responsibility, guide us toward an inner fortress that nothing can shake. Marcus Aurelius first teaches us the importance of controlling our thoughts. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." This teaching reminds us that what we think defines our state of mind. If we cultivate serene and rational thoughts, we protect ourselves from the emotional storms that often threaten our inner peace. An unbreakable mind is one that, even in the face of the greatest adversities, remains serene and focused. Marcus Aurelius urges us to remember, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. This reflection is a call to emotional self-sufficiency, to the understanding that control over our lives resides in our ability to govern our own thoughts and emotions. Marcus Aurelius also warns us about the fleeting nature of life and the necessity of living in the present. He said, "We waste more time in life fearing what is to come than savoring the present." True strength lies in living each moment intensely, without being dominated by the fear of the future or the regret of the past. This practice of constant presence arms us against the worries that erode our peace. The acceptance of fate, or amor fati, is another vital principle that Marcus Aurelius left us. He wrote, "Welcome every event as it happens to you, weaving it into the fabric of your destiny." This acceptance is not resignation, but a profound understanding that every event has a purpose. By embracing what life brings, we strengthen our minds, making them impervious to frustrations and complaints. For Marcus Aurelius, connection with the universal nature is essential. He said, "Everything that happens is as natural as the rose blooming in spring or the rain falling." Understanding that we are part of a greater whole helps us put our difficulties into perspective and find peace in the order of the cosmos. This perspective broadens our vision, allowing us to see beyond our immediate concerns. A central aspect of Marcus Aurelius's reflections is the importance of virtue. He stated, "If it is good for you and others, it is a good action. Otherwise, it is a bad action." Living virtuously, in harmony with our highest principles, provides a solid foundation on which to build our mental strength. Virtue is the pillar that supports an unbreakable mind. Marcus Aurelius also teaches us how to deal with pain and difficulty. He wrote, "Pain is inevitable, suffering is optional." This distinction is crucial for developing a strong mind. Pain is a part of life, but our suffering stems from our resistance and attitude toward it. By accepting pain as part of the human experience, we transcend suffering and find renewed strength. The practice of gratitude is another key to an unbreakable mind. Marcus Aurelius reminds us, "When you arise in the morning, think of the privilege of being alive, of breathing, of thinking, of loving." Gratitude anchors us in the present and provides us with a positive perspective, even in the face of adversity. It is a powerful ally in building a resilient mind. Silence and introspection are fundamental in Marcus Aurelius's reflections. He encourages us to find moments of quiet to reflect on our lives and actions. In his words, "Retire into yourself. The mind has its own resources to renew itself continually." These moments of introspection are vital for strengthening our minds, allowing us to recharge our energies and rediscover our purpose. The perception of impermanence is a central truth in Marcus Aurelius's meditations. He reminds us that everything we see is a change. By embracing this impermanence, we free ourselves from the fear of loss and change, cultivating a mind that remains firm in the face of life's uncertainties. Marcus Aurelius offers us a clear path to developing an unbreakable mind through discipline, acceptance, virtue, and constant reflection. His words are an eternal source of wisdom that guide us in our quest for serenity and inner strength. By internalizing these teachings, we become truly invulnerable to life's storms, finding peace and resilience in our daily journey. Number 5. Mental training. To cultivate an unbreakable mind, it is essential to adopt practices that strengthen our spirit and purify our thoughts. Mental training, daily meditation, and the use of a Stoic journal are powerful tools that, when used consistently, mold our minds with the solidity of tempered steel. Mental training is the foundation for building resilience. It challenges us to face and overcome our weaknesses, transforming us into unperturbed beings. Imagine a warrior preparing for battle. He not only sharpens his sword but also strengthens his mind against fear and doubt. Similarly, by subjecting our minds to rigorous exercises of discipline and focus, we prepare for life's adversities with unwavering clarity. A central aspect of mental training is the practice of negative visualization, or premeditatio malorum. This exercise involves imagining adverse scenarios that could occur, not to fill us with fear but to prepare us emotionally and mentally. By anticipating difficulties, our minds become less susceptible to shock and panic, allowing us to face each challenge with resolute calm. Daily meditation is the second cornerstone of an unbreakable mind. This habit invites us into a space of silence and introspection, where we can observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. It is a moment of reconnection with our essence, a refuge where we find peace and clarity. As Marcus Aurelius said, "Retire into yourself. The mind has its own resources to renew itself continually." Meditation allows us to access these resources, purifying our minds from distractions and external noise. During meditation, it is vital to focus on the breath and allow each inhalation and exhalation to anchor us in the present. This simple act of mindfulness dissipates worries and centers us in the now, strengthening our emotional resilience. The regular practice of meditation builds a mental shield, making us less vulnerable to external disturbances. The Stoic Journal is the third crucial tool. Writing daily is not just an act of recording, but a profound exercise in self-knowledge and reflection. By putting our thoughts on paper, we give form to our emotions and analyze our actions in light of Stoic principles. This habit allows us to identify negative thought patterns and correct them, promoting continuous growth. In the Stoic Journal, we can follow the example of Seneca, who reviewed his day at the end of each night, asking himself what he did well, where he failed, and how he could improve. This daily practice of self-assessment not only helps us maintain control over our emotions and actions, but also guides us toward a life of virtue and purpose. Brutal honesty with oneself is necessary. It is a mirror that does not lie, reflecting our weaknesses and giving us the chance to strengthen our minds. The integration of these three practices, mental training, daily meditation, and the Stoic Journal, creates a virtuous cycle of mental strengthening. Mental training challenges and molds our resilience. Meditation purifies and calms our spirit, and the Stoic Journal offers constant and honest introspection. Together, these tools prepare us to face life's storms with unshakable serenity. Visualize the mind as a fortress. Each stone of this fortress is placed with the care and diligence of mental training. Meditation is the oil that lubricates the internal mechanisms, and the Stoic Journal is the map that guides the defenses. The fortress becomes impenetrable, not because of its physical walls, but due to meticulous preparation and deep self-understanding. Number 6. Exposure to suffering. Exposing oneself to suffering is a hard path, but necessary to forge an unbreakable mind. At the heart of Stoic philosophy, we find the idea that facing suffering, rather than avoiding it, truly makes us strong. Suffering, though painful, is an unyielding teacher that imparts valuable lessons about resilience, courage, and wisdom. Imagine yourself traversing a fierce storm. Every gust of wind, every drop of rain, is a test of your endurance. However, by persisting, you discover that the storm, rather than destroying you, strengthens you. Suffering works in the same way. By directly facing difficulties, we develop an inner capacity to endure and overcome any adversity. The first step to exposing oneself to suffering is acceptance. Acceptance is not resignation, but a recognition of reality. Marcus Aurelius, the great philosopher-emperor, wrote, "Welcome every event as it happens to you, weaving it into the fabric of your destiny." This acceptance allows us to face suffering without fear, knowing that it is an inevitable part of human existence. By exposing ourselves to suffering, we learn to handle pain more effectively. Pain, whether physical or emotional, is a universal sensation. However, our reaction to it defines our mental strength. When confronted with pain, we have the choice to either lament it or learn from it. The Stoics teach us to view pain as an opportunity for growth, a chance to test and strengthen our resilience. A practical example of exposing oneself to suffering is the practice of voluntary deprivation. Depriving ourselves of comforts and luxuries, even temporarily, teaches us to appreciate what we have and understand that we can survive with less. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, recommended periods of fasting and abstinence to strengthen the spirit and prove to oneself that happiness does not depend on material possessions. Facing suffering also teaches us to cultivate patience and perseverance. In a world where we seek instant gratification, suffering forces us to slow down and understand the value of time and waiting. It is through patience that we find true strength, for a mind that can endure time without succumbing to impatience is a truly unbreakable mind. Moreover, suffering provides us with a deeper perspective on life. It forces us to question our priorities and reflect on what truly matters. Amidst pain, we discover our true passions and values, those that remain when everything else is stripped away. This clarity gives us a solid foundation on which to build a meaningful and authentic life. Suffering also connects us with others in a unique way. By sharing our experiences of pain, we create bonds of empathy and understanding. This human connection is essential for a healthy mind, as it reminds us that we are not alone in our struggles. The solidarity that arises from shared suffering gives us strength and inspires us to continue, even in the darkest moments. To cultivate an unbreakable mind, it is necessary to embrace suffering as a teacher. Each moment of pain is a lesson, each challenge an opportunity for growth. By facing suffering head-on, we develop an inner strength that cannot be shaken by external circumstances. We become truly free, for a mind that knows and accepts suffering is a mind that fears nothing. Remember the words of Epictetus: "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." This teaching reminds us that the power is in our hands. We can choose to face suffering with courage and dignity, transforming each pain into a source of strength. Continue on this path of facing and accepting suffering. Allow suffering to shape and strengthen you. Over time, you will discover that by embracing pain, you become not only resilient, but truly invincible. Your mind, tempered by the fire of adversities, will become an impenetrable fortress, capable of withstanding any storm life brings. Number 7. Learn from failures. The path to an unbreakable mind is paved with failures. Each fall, each mistake, each defeat is a cornerstone in building an inner strength that cannot be shaken. Failures are not signs of weakness, but disguised opportunities, invitations to learn, grow, and transcend our limitations. Imagine a craftsman patiently working with a block of marble. Each chisel strike, each apparent imperfection, is part of the process of creating a masterpiece. So too are the failures in our lives. They shape, sculpt, and refine our character. Instead of fearing them, we should embrace them as severe but just teachers. Failures teach us humility. They remind us that we are fallible, that we do not have absolute control over everything. This acceptance of our vulnerability frees us from pride and arrogance, allowing us to approach life with an open and receptive mind. The humility cultivated through failures is a powerful force that makes us more resilient and adaptable. Moreover, failures offer us a chance for self-knowledge. Each failure is a mirror that reflects our weaknesses and areas that need improvement. By facing these reflections with courage, we gain a deeper understanding of ourselves. This self-knowledge is the foundation upon which we can build an unbreakable mind, for a mind that knows itself well is less susceptible to being shaken by external uncertainties. The Stoic philosopher Seneca said, "To err is human. To persist in error is diabolical." This teaching reminds us of the importance of learning from our mistakes, instead of blindly repeating them. Each failure must be analyzed, understood, and transformed into practical wisdom. By doing this, we turn each defeat into a stepping stone to success. Failures also teach us perseverance. True strength does not lie in never failing, but in always rising after each fall. Each time we rise, we become stronger and more determined. An unbreakable mind is forged in the furnace of adversities, where each failure is a test of our determination and ability to recover. Acceptance of failures also helps us develop a more realistic view of life. Life is full of ups and downs, and expecting a path without obstacles is an illusion. By accepting that failures are a natural part of the journey, we mentally prepare ourselves to face challenges with a more balanced and serene attitude. A crucial aspect of learning from failures is the ability to change our perspective. Failures can be seen as tragic endings or as new beginnings. By adopting a growth mindset, we transform failures into springboards for new opportunities and learnings. This change in perspective empowers us, allowing us to see beyond immediate defeats and perceive the potential for growth and evolution. The practice of detachment, a central principle of Stoicism, is also strengthened through failures. When we fail, we are often forced to let go of our expectations, our plans, and even our identities. This detachment teaches us to find value in our inner being regardless of external circumstances. A detached mind is a free mind, and a free mind is unbreakable. Failures also cultivate empathy and compassion in us. By experiencing our own difficulties, we become more understanding and supportive of others' struggles. This human connection is a source of strength, as it reminds us that we are not alone in our journey. The solidarity that arises from sharing failures creates bonds that sustain us in the most challenging times. To transform failures into strength, it is essential to adopt a regular practice of reflection. Meditate on your failures, write about them, analyze them with a calm and objective mind. Ask yourself what can be learned, what can be improved, and how these lessons can be applied in the future. This constant practice of reflection keeps us in a continuous growth cycle, where each failure is a catalyst for evolution.